Hey guys, this wasn't going to be a video, this was going to be a quick job that never got mentioned. There's a piece of rotten wood here on this stand that holds up our water tank. So the unskilled labour replaced that with some new timber and then noticed a little bit of what appeared to be surface rust on the tank itself and scraped it with a wire brush to get the surface rust off, and it turns out it wasn't surface rust, it was rust that went right through the tank. So this quick job turned into a oh no, as it often does. Quick jobs often turn into huge jobs. So all these little pits on this tank that we thought were just surface rust obviously are not. The rust was coming out from the inside. So that little, see on the left hand side there's a little sort of a port. We changed that. This used to be for rice. The farmer that used to own the house, they use it for storing rice, and that little door on the left there had a sliding hatch that you'd lift up to let the rice out. So the unskilled labourer replaced that with this different system because we wanted to use it to hold water. So it worked because really it was just going to be thrown away or recycled. So using it for a tank for the last few years was making good use of it. So it has been a few years. However, the inside, partly from the rust, you can see the coloration of the water, also because in between the rainy periods that we get a lot of dry periods and it's very dusty. So obviously a lot of dust collects on the roof, and then when it rains it brings the dust down into the tank, and it had basically put a few centimetres of mud in the bottom of the tank. So yeah, off we go. The little job's turning into a big one. So not much we can do with that tank anymore. Just too rusty, too disgusting. Actually took it off to the recyclers and got 360 yen for it, which is about $4. So that's fair enough. Because that's all we would have done with it years ago when we first turned it into a water tank. That was the plan, to take it to the recyclers and get a couple of yen for it. So that's where that went. So the rest of the stand's pretty solid. Have a look at that. Isn't that disgusting? Splashed all over the place. So gave that a bit of a clean off. We do actually use the water tank quite a bit. One reason is our goldfish. We use the rainwater for them because of course they don't like tap water, and they love the rainwater. They're powering those fish. They're growing bigger every year. So we need it for them. The other thing is that we actually pay by the litre for our water, and it adds up. So if we can get a few hundred litres of free water every now and again that we can use for the fish and the garden and flowers and potted plants and things like that, it's sort of an investment. So salvage the taps. There was two taps. One was at the bottom that we used to get the water out. The other one was at the top for the overflow. So when it got full, the overflow water automatically went to the fish tank. Some of you might remember that job. And it's been working really well. Every time it rained enough to fill the tank, the fish pond would get flushed out. So off to the home centre now. Look at this. Purpose made. $500, 150 litres, $500, right? Yeah, that's too much. Won't be paying that. 120 litres, $250. Whatever that was, $500. It's 200 litres maybe for $500. 150 litres for $500. So they look great, don't they? Purpose made. So they do look good. However, we struggle to justify that sort of expense for the water. Financially, it doesn't add up. Logistically, financially, it doesn't add up. $700 for that one. Look, 200 litres, $700. So, nah, can't justify that. That was a bit disappointing. So, off to the farmers part of the home centre. So that first part there was the DIY area, sort of thing. But this is where the farmers do their shopping, right? All this is all farmers stuff here. So these yellow tanks are really common. We used to have one that we used as a water tank that was already here. The farmer owned it before. And we used that till it perished and cracked and started leaking, and then recycled it. And then we used the metal tank. So this one, 500 litres for about $140. 300 litres was about $110. This is better, isn't it? And what's that one? 100 litres, was it? 200 litres for about $90 it was. So 200 litres, 300 litres and 500 litres. 500 is too big for the stand and can't justify it. And the other one's a bit too little. 300 litres seems about the go, so we bought that one. So 300 litre tank for $110. So took the opportunity to give the stand a good spray. It's lasted pretty well. All this stuff's recycled, by the way. All the wood that was used to make the stand, the wood that was made to repair the stand, the paint's left over from another big job. We used the same brown paint for everything, so that makes it very convenient. And even the screws and the bolts and everything, they were all there, so it made it easy. So a good opportunity to give it a good paint. Doesn't matter if it sprays on the wall because that's the same colour too. See, there's logic in all that. So the lid on this thing is a pretty fancy one because they often put chemicals and water in it and put it in the back of the K-trucks and drive it around. So they've got to make them fairly sturdy so they don't leak. But we don't need that fancy lid. We had the plastic lid from our old 300 litre container. So we also had some fly screen left over, some insect screen. So put the insect screen on a lid that's had the centre of it cut out. The idea is then we can let the water go in without leaves and other bits of garbage going in there. And then that's just a cap there, so we need to put a tap where that cap is. Seemed to be the easiest solution to getting a tap on there. And it happens to be in the right direction too for our plan. So I need to drill out that cap. Oh yeah, by the way, the workshop, 34 degrees and 80% humidity. So 34 degrees isn't too bad, is it? But 80% humidity really is what kicks you around. It makes everything that you do, it's like swimming, it's like a sauna. It's like working in a sauna. And it was actually cool in there because of the mud walls. Compared to outside in the sun, it actually felt quite cool in there. So yeah, again, all recycled fittings. Just the tap that we'd been using. Someone commented the other day when we were working on the stand that the tap was leaking. So yeah, that was right. So I had to fix the tap. And then drill out the cap so the tap will fit in there. And the actual plan was to put a backing on it so to hold it in. But as it turned out, made the hole just big enough for the tap to be threaded in. And the tap actually threaded in to the cap because it's made of fairly thick plastic. And ended up just screwing it in and it stayed in, so that was fine. So put some silicone on it first and some plumber's tape around the thread and then just fed it in. And it worked, went in really nice and tight. Done. So happy with that. Silicon, magic stuff, but geez, it's horrible to work with, the sticky stuff that it is, isn't it? So the overflow. We've noticed that the overflows that we use, because of that yellow, see the yellow hose running through the gutter there? That's the one that runs to the fish pond. Hasn't got a very big diameter, which means that the water can flow in there in heavy rain much faster than it flows out. So I put the overflow down a little bit to give it a bit of a head start before the tank gets full. We find it's worked really well. On that old tank it worked really well. It'd rain, the tank would get full, and for the next few hours the fish pond would be slowly flushed out with clean water and end up with a crystal clean fish pond and a bunch of happy goldfish. 5 big fat happy goldfish. So yeah, here's the overflow. So just put some plumber's tape on that, on the fitting, and then screwed the outside fitting on. Big enough, just the right diameter for the hose to plug into. Again, just all bits sitting around in that workshop. It was all there. Bit of silicone, stop it leaking. Plumber's tape and silicone, magic stuff. So $110 so far is all we've spent just for the tank. That was a bit of a hit. Some of you know we're pretty stingy with spending money. Don't like spending money. Can't spend money really. Don't have a lot of spare money. But Need it for the fish, and it's an investment. It's an investment. Haven't done the math, but the amount of water that we save. Oh yeah, just that insect screen net going on the cap, on the lid. It was fitted pretty well, but just while we're at it, just put some plumber's glue. That's magic stuff. So on the rubber lid, put some plumber's glue between the rubber lid and the screen, and then just clamped it down with some plastic. And that worked really well. That sealed it up, made it really nice and tight, so that when the water hits it with pressure, it'll keep it together. Oh yeah, that was just a plastic desk cover or something it was that was in the rubbish. So just that I've noticed that with the horizontal surfaces, when water sits on the horizontal surfaces, it does tend to rot them over time. So just threw that rubber, that just happened to be lying around anyway, or plastic, probably plastic it is, threw that underneath, and then just lined up the tank on top of it so that the weight sort of spread evenly. The stand's pretty solid. You know, that'll be 300 kilograms, won't it, when that tank's full of water? It'll be about 300 kilograms, which is probably about what the big metal tank was as well. And it's pretty solid, that stand. It's pretty well made. Lots of old hardwood that was lying around in the house already. So tap at a little bit of an angle so it doesn't splash on the wall so much. It points off towards that drain, so when we want to fill up buckets and things, splashes around out towards the drain. So just putting a bit of water in it just to put some weight on it until it rains, so it doesn't blow off or move or something in the wind. So I just put 20 litres or something in there just to give it some weight, because it's been pretty blowy. We've had the typhoons coming and going, a bit of associated wind. It is nice to buy new things, isn't it? We recycle everything, and everything that we use is usually old, recycled, but it is nice to work on a new piece of material sometimes, you know. So yeah, it works. Put the cover on the top. That worked. We had the same system with the previous version, and that worked really well. Kept the leaves and bits and pieces out, let the water in. There it is. Fabulous. And of course the metal tank was tall and thin, so we need to adjust the pipes a bit. Sort of in shadow here a bit, guys, so you can't really see what's going on real well, but have a look at that sky. This time of year, in between the rain, it's really, really nice weather. Humid and hot as anything, but it is beautiful. It is beautiful. Beautiful here all year round, you know. It doesn't matter what the season. It's all beautiful. Just in summer, you've just got to be prepared to be sweaty and hot. It's hot and humid and sticky. You just got to ignore it, you know, just embrace it. It's good for you, like working in a sauna. That's going to be good for you. So yeah, lined that up pretty well. There we go. Happy with that. And again, that downpipe, lots of spare downpipe out in the workshop. And then plugged in the overflow, plugged in the hose that runs to the fish tank into the overflow. All ready to go. And then the next day, it rained. So lots of isolated rain goes on this time of year. You get these isolated showers that come through. It'll be blue sky and then you get lots of rain. So it's fabulous. Welcome to that. Yay, good timing. Let's get some water in the tank. Fabulous. Rainwater on tap. There we go. That'll make our fish happy. Great for the plants and everything too, of course. And it's free. We start to get our $110 back. By the litre at a time. So the next day, we just went to have a quick look at it because there'd been some more rain, and we already had a occupant. Check him out. Garden's full of little frogs, so really pleased to see him there. So we wish him the best. He's more than welcome. So anyway, that was that 5-minute job. That got out of hand, didn't it? Hope someone enjoyed that. More videos coming soon.